New York, or you've been to New York, you ate at Red Rooster, you know this man, you know his work. But today we're here to talk about his new television show, No Passport Required. How you doing today?
I'm super happy to be here, man. It's awesome. We're in mid-season right now, and I'm getting one of the coolest things about living in New York is like people are, they are talkative, which is great. So when you have something like Red Rooster or the new show, people are going to tell you straight up.
Right.
Like whether I'm on the train or waiting for something, people come up to me. How come you're not doing my community? How come you haven't been here? I'm like, whoa, we'll get there.
Sounds like second season is already filling up.
Yeah. Decided by New Yorkers on the train.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made you want to do the show?
Well, I think that, we all kind of dealing with this moment that we're in, right? We know it's very unique, and we all being challenged, especially, I think, as a black man, you constantly being challenged from day one.
Right.
So that actually has been helpful in this process, right, in this moment, because we always been under attack. As an immigrant, it hit me a little bit differently because I thought, unless you're native, everyone is immigrant in America, right? Doesn't matter how we got here, right? So
that's how it is, but some people seem to forget that over and over again.
Yeah. so when Vox and PBS, when we were like, all right, we should do something, but we have to come with an angle that really is new and fresh. Mm-hmm. So we worked on it for the last 18 months, and I think it's an important part that you were in this moment, but I also think the best content will come out of this moment because they very often do come when we're challenged. You're from Baltimore, which obviously is a city that has had so many ups and downs that we talk about. But think about how much good, incredible content comes from that city, maybe because of it.
What I love about your show is how you go to these places, and not only do you introduce us to these amazing restaurants and people, but you also put it all like in a historical context.
Yes. I mean, food has that great opportunity that it doesn't have an R or D behind it. It doesn't tell me what religion you should. Can't convince you to pray to. It doesn't. It just
Christian Republican.
Yes,
pies.
no. it is just hey, and we might not even agree on the food, and that's a great starter for the conversation. So it really boils down to breaking bread is still awesome, and it's needed, and different perspective, and we need different voices, right? It's like for so long were we taught that European flavors were the only flavors, and specifically certain region of Europe. Of course, as the world, we know that every aspect of the world has an interesting point of view.
Right.
And anytime I can invite you to my world, how we do it, you just learn something about me.
How many cities did you go to while taping the show?
The hardest thing with the show was to pick what cities and what communities, right? So we started with we went to 6 cities. So Detroit, we started with the Arab American community, NOLA, New Orleans with Vietnamese American, and it was super fun to do New York, but to pick Queens.
Right.
And then
Queens doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like hip hop fan. Music is so much of my music comes from Queens, but it was good to go there and do something different. So the Indo-Guyanese community. So even for someone like myself that lived in New York for a long time, I didn't know enough about that. Right. And it's a huge part of the whole being part of Queens, this Indo-Guyanese community.
Did you have like a favorite place or a place that you got to go back to?
Ooh, you can't do that.
We're not gonna hurt. We're not gonna hurt anyone. I
do think when we were in Chicago and worked in the Mexican American community because of this moment, because of DACA, because of ICE, and all of these things, and meeting families that's been directly impacted on that.
Right.
It's humbling, man. Or being in Detroit and speaking and cooking and working with the Arab American community and showing that how diverse it is. You can be Lebanese American and been here for 60 years, or you can be Syrian and just coming 3 months ago. So that obviously that's a vast difference of your experience, your finances, and how you relate to this place.
Right.
But I think those two will always stick out to me because it was so humbling just to be there.
It's so weird that we have so many people that are just against immigrants in a country that's supposed to be a melting pot of immigrants. And then these people from these different places that come to America and find a home, you know, they bring so much character, so much intelligence, so much different types of food that all of these fat politicians eat all of the time. So it's like, how could you not embrace the culture and the love? What is it that the current administration doesn't get? Because we know he doesn't know anything about food. He eats nothing but McDonald's. So we know he doesn't know anything about food. But what else is it that he doesn't get?
Well, it's very much being selective and speaking to certain you know, to his constituencies that, you know, it's about the totality of the beauty of America, right? Which is this incredible mash pit of ideas and people. And again, I think as a black person, I think we actually are, the blessings of being a black man is that we've been under attack so long, so we kind of figured out a way to like tackle and I don't suggest that any other race or people should go through all that, but I think for me, it's like, all right, I've seen this before. It's the same type of false narrative that have been pushed up about us for such a long time. So it's been actually helpful to process this, but I do think that all of this also has an expiration date to it, and that's the good news.
So you feel like we have the potential to move into a better place?
Absolutely, have
a lot of people are losing hope right now.
You can't. You can't. I mean, think about also, what's beautiful about America is that very often when we start with a dark history, we most of the time land on what's the better side. We did that with civil rights movement. We did that, and we're doing that through women's movement and gay rights movement, and so many movements we can look at and say like, no, we collective have actually figured this out. It wasn't pretty, and I've looked at and studying, you know, a lot of American history in terms of civil rights movement, and it helped me draw inspiration for. We were talking about Malcolm before. You know, Malcolm always evolved. You know, not always starting on the right point of view, but like got there, right? And I just think that that's what this is, a moment, and it's a line drawn right here, and you want to make sure you're on the, you know, where do you want to be in history? Do you want to be on the right side or right, or you want to be on, you know, you want to be this side? You know what I mean?
Well, I definitely think your work is pushing that conversation forward in a positive direction, because food does connect us all.
Yes.
You know, we all love to eat. Have you been like influenced by any of the people you work with as you were filming the show? You just like switch some of your recipes up, or?
Yeah, I mean, as chefs, you know, we don't just get great ideas from an expensive restaurant. Like, it's actually the opposite. I think the more humbler the ingredient, the more we want to go there, right? Like we want to eat innards. We want to eat things that are foreign to us, because out of that journey, like, oh, maybe there's a way to tweak this. So if you're not a person that like as a chef, you have to be curious about others constantly. So that's what this show that allowed me to do, is to go to spaces. Most of this is not done in restaurants. Most of this is done in people's backyards or in gardens or in, you know, and that's where the good food is. Just like, for me, food is very rhythmic. You know, it's linked to music so much. It's a way of us telling us, I'm this tribe, and this is my drums, and this is my curries, you know what I mean? These are my spices. So I think most of the food memories I have are done this way. I'm on the road, I meet someone, we get the opportunity to eat or cook together. I'm like, oh, I can now convert that into something else.
Did you like, were you surprised like by anything you learned? Did something like shock you? You know what's really humbled me and was great to learn was how people, first of all, like it's even in a narrative of if you say Arab American, it's much more layered than that, right? So even Arab American, you can have so many different, you can come from so many different countries. You can be Christian and Arab American. You can be, and then within that, then that drives your spirituality, drives your food, right? So it's just like if people sound like black people, right? There's a lot of different diversity within the context of being black. We know that as black people, but sometimes people look at us from this monolithic point of view, right? And
traveling, learning about the Vietnamese community in New Orleans, I didn't know anything about that. And I didn't know that there was differences within those communities. Of course it is.
I feel like America does that. Like America puts everyone in a box.
Yes.
So, you know, if you come from one region of East Africa, then you like everybody from that region.
Exactly.
Or if you come from, a certain part of Mexico, then, they just put everyone in a box.
And then,
how dangerous is that?
It is, and this show really helped me to unpack that and show that that's not the fact. And food has been such a great way of just celebrate diversity in a different way. And you know what? I ate some great food, and it was done in so many different places. And most of the time, again, was not in restaurants. Like eating at La Barca in the South Side, in the back of the yards in Chicago, it was, imagine this deli that happens to have a bar inside of it. Oh, wait a minute, they also have a butcher shop inside of it. Right. Oh, and you can pick up like whatever random convenience stuff you want. And on top of that, we also gonna have the best taco service in the city.
Right.
Like, I go there.
Yeah, I think about when I was watching your show, another thing that came to mind was some of the Anthony Bourdain shows when you get a chance to meet people and fill them out and hang out with them. Was that one of the inspirations behind it, or did it just so happen to?
First of all, Tony was a great mentor to me, and we traveled together, and he, came with me and my wife to Ethiopia. But
yeah, I remember that.
I constantly had Anthony in my mind as almost the way you look up to a 3-star Michelin chef, as a young chef coming up. And I was speaking to him throughout this, and he was just, he was encouraging me, and for me it was important to create my own lane, but obviously deeply inspired by Anthony. He gave us so much, and you have to ask questions when you're there. Something like, once you come into someone's house, it's not about you. You have to be able to ask questions and be open, constantly open to different tastes and different scenarios. And Tony showed me that. So, Anthony was very, very inspirational to me, and I'm grateful to everything that we have. He gave us so much that we can now learn from, right? Not just the cooking community, but particular to us. So the first episode we dedicated to Anthony because of all the work that he's done and everything, what he meant to us as an icon in the industry.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of your show. Again, is this idea of you're coming in as a guest and you're not coming in trying to dictate and tell people what to do. You come in with love and you listen and you absorb, and I think that's what makes it so special. Because
we also don't know, right? Like if I want to find out something about you, if I want to have this preconceived idea of what it is, biggest chance for me to learn something about you is to be quiet and listen. What's up? Tell me your story. Tell me something about Baltimore, and tell me something about, being 11 and go through stuff. Of course you can Google and read that stuff, but that doesn't, on an emotional level, describe anything.
All right. So I also feel like you're a great storyteller. Is that connected to the type of music you like? When you mentioned Queens, the first thing that came to my mind is like Nas and
Of course,
some of those.
Tribe Called Quest, Run DMC, all of it. And even before that, Ella and Louis Armstrong and all of that stuff. I came up, my parents were white, my cousins were Koreans, just to get it. My other cousins were French Canadians, just to get to the dinner table.
What that family picture look like?
Yeah, weird. Just to get to the dinner table and get to the bread was constantly elbowing. So I just grew up with enormous amount of curiosity, right? And I wasn't a big kid. Also, so in school, just to get on the court, you have to do certain things. Right. So I just grew up with you don't expect anything. Don't take anything for granted. So stay curious, and then go back and work on that. Do your homework, but stay curious. And then that's something that have helped me so much in cooking, and it helped me in this show. I don't know what the next scene's going to be. As a matter of fact, forget the camera. Like even now talking to you, I don't even, it's just talking about this and not studying too much and thinking about what should I say here. It's like, let's respond to the food.
Well, you feel that vibe when you eat at Red Rooster. Like you feel the history, you feel the culture, like you feel like if there's a feeling.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think I've been immigrant 6 times to different countries, which allowed me to walking into rooms where I don't speak the language, so I can understand what that feeling is. So then when you don't speak someone's language, you actually have to have better eye contact or pick up how does this room smell, or it teaches you to learn other things.
Right.
Even Red Rooster, for me, we picked a cuisine that is not, part of it is inspired by the migration, but part of it is just a little bit what Harlem go through right now, a little bit El Barrio, a little bit new people coming in. So it's not just one thing that should be set. But guess what? It forces me also to continue to learn, right? So I very often, I'm comfortable in the unknown, you know? And that's what this show really did. Like, there's a lot of unknown scenarios, and I want to continue that conversation.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of conversations that needs to be had. Tell everyone when the show airs so we can know.
So we actually had 2 homes, like PBS at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, and then also on eater.com. So both to having the online experience with Vox and Eater, and then to have the traditional home on PBS has been amazing. And this would not have happened without either one. Eaters were fantastic in constantly finding new people on the road that can contribute. And then PBS just we just worked hard on getting some more information and chew on it, give people new content.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing show, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.